Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of... All right, we'll start from the beginning. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Temple Time. Try one more time. All right. Welcome to this week's episode of Temple Time.
Look, I'm really sorry. Listen, my dog either just really needs to go out or she really wants to make her Temple Timeout debut. Just give me a minute. Sorry.
I get it.
All right. Sorry about that. But now that that's taken care of, let's talk about Temple football, who continues their conference play. And then we welcome an old friend back on the show, maybe, and a couple of awards to talk about. But first, let's take a timeout.
Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Temple Timeout. I'm Alex Kyle.
And I'm Brooklyn Vaughn. We've got so much to talk about this week, so let's get started with this weekend's upcoming matchup as the Owls head south to take on the Memphis Tigers.
Yep, so Temple got their first win this past weekend against USF, a team that they were supposed to beat, but maybe should have beaten with a little bit more breathing room.
They now head into a real test this weekend at Memphis. This Tigers team is coming off a thrilling come-from-behind win over UCF, and they have a lot of momentum right now. Temple head coach Rod Carey is preparing for a very skilled and all-around complete team.
They do so much offensively, and then they're running around defensively, and there's some really good personnel up front defensively. And special teams, they're sound. So, and obviously have a ton of confidence coming off of their last week.
So the Tigers started their season in the beginning of September with a 37-24 win over Arkansas State. Their next two games after that were canceled, obviously. Since then, they've lost to SMU by 3, which isn't a bad loss in this conference, and beat UCF 50-49 after a missed Knight's field goal attempt to win it all. After that, Memphis comes into this weekend with a 2-1 record and a high-powered offense that scores 38 points per game. And that high-powered offense is led by Brady White. Listen, this Brady White is the real deal. 13 touchdowns through only 3 games. Out of 130 passing attempts, he has a 69 completion percentage. And, that sounds good to me. Other than that, 6 touchdowns last week in a win over UCF, and that's big time.
Well, Brady White is 0-1 playing against Anthony Russo. Remember, Russo and the Owls were the only team to beat Memphis last season until Penn State took them down in the Cotton Bowl. And here we go. The Owls head to Memphis on Saturday for a 12 o'clock noon kickoff, and you can catch the game once again on ESPN+.
Temple looks to be getting 13 points. Which usually isn't a great sign, but after what happened in 2019, I'm sure Temple's looking to make some noise, just like that ranked win last year.
Another week, another nail-biter for the Owls. Let's take a look back at how this one against USF panned out. Temple gets to the board first with the quick Russo flip to blue. That'll be one of his 2 touchdowns on the day. Look at this guy. Is he trying to dap up the ref? Anyways, Arnold Beckett with the defensive play of the day here. Stay tuned. He sacks McLeod, and Dan Archibong recovers the ball. The Bulls are trying to keep up early on, and McLeod finds Randall St. Felix in the end zone to cut the Owls' lead to 3. Here's Russo with a beautiful pass to Jaden Blue. That's number 2. Of course, he's having fun in the end zone again. USF switches it up, Noah Johnson in at quarterback, and he takes it in himself to cut the lead again. Temple still leads, though, 21-17 after the first half.
Talk about free candy for Halloween. Temple defensive end Arnold Beckett finds a lost football and scores it into the Eagles' painted green end zone, which gives Temple the lead. Now back to the offensive side of the ball, Russo finds Randall Jones on a smoke route, who tiptoes it up the sideline like he's sneaking out of his house for 6, and the Owls extend their 1-point lead late in the 4th. USF does respond quickly to make it a 2-point ball game, but then gets stuffed on the 2-point conversion by defensive standout Amir Tyler, who says it's time to get back to Philly. And this hit brings possession back to the Owls, who cement the conference win into their Saturday plans. Temple leads with the victory 39-37.
And we knew number 0 was coming in. He was going to be the running quarterback, so we was high alert on that. He's not really strong with the arm, so once we seen him in there, we knew it was like a QB draw or a reverse or a trick play. We just, fell back on the film that we was watching, and everybody executed what they had to do.
Saturday was phase 1 of bringing fans back into the rink. You can see family of coaches and players here. Temple Athletics hasn't yet offered a ticket plan for the remaining home games, but are expecting to for their next home game on November 5th.
We now bring in a good friend of the show, Alexis Beckett, to talk a little bit more about the Owls. Hey, Alexis.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back.
All right, get right into it now. First question. Memphis looked impressive in that comeback win over UCF this past week. Alexis, what are your biggest takeaways from that one? And then how does that translate into, some threats for Temple?
I think it was an amazing comeback by Memphis. They were down 20-7 coming into that second half, and then being able to come out with a win 50-49. I think that's going to be the biggest threat, is their ability to, not pay attention to the score and just focusing play by play and making sure that they get that win at the end.
For sure. And I agree with that too. I really do. The quarterbacks around the AAC, there's a lot of talent this year, but how do Russo and Brady White compare, if they do at all?
Yeah, I don't really think that there is a comparison right now, especially with White having over 1,000 yards already with just 3 games being played. I think that he is also another threat to this Temple team. So I think that's Russo is playing a better game than he has played in past previous seasons, but I think that it's not a question as to, who is the higher level, who has the higher playing level when it comes to Brady and Russo.
For sure.
Right. So, of course, Temple being one of the only teams who were able to bring down Memphis in the regular season last year, I was going to give Russo a little bit of benefit of the doubt because he had a great game. And then, like you said, he's been playing, at a higher level than he has been. But, Brady White, he's on some freak stuff over there these past 3 games. I got to give it to him. So moving on, let's look around the rest of the field, the rest of the roster. Who are some other players to watch on both teams?
So I think that the receiver Calvin Austin for Memphis is coming off of a big game, that game from last week. He had over 150 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. So I think he's going to be a player to absolutely look out for, especially, with Temple's secondary defense issues. So I think he's going to have another big game. And then I think Brandon Mack is going to be our player to look out for Temple. He is just a great receiver, and I think that he's going to give Memphis a little bit of a run for their money when it comes to that secondary as well.
Yeah, I like those answers as well. My predictions, Rodriguez Clark for Memphis. Listen, 3 games in a row, he's practically had over 100 yards. He's coming off of a hot game, 112 yards with practically another 20 carries. For the year, he has 57 carries, so he's obviously the lead back. They're relying on him heavy. Big win against UCF, and he still managed to have a big game. So for Memphis, I'm going to go with the starting running back, Rodriguez Clark. And for Temple, going to the defensive side of the ball this week, Delco made Delco proud. Dane Archibong. 6'6", 300-pound defensive end. If you watch these games, he is in on every single play, and he's going to have a big difference setting the edge in this game against Memphis, in my opinion. Away from my opinion, I need your guys' opinion on what the game prediction is, final score, and everything like that. Let me know.
So I think, Temple fought for that win last week, but I think Memphis just fights harder, and they do have a lot of weapons. So I'm going to take Memphis over Temple this weekend.
Yeah, Alexis, for sure. I've had faith in the Owls, but when you look at a team coming off of as big of a win over UCF, they're both second-half teams. Maybe Temple will give them a little bit of a run for their money here. Their offense, maybe they'll be able to keep up Their defense, probably not. So I'm going to say Memphis over Temple for sure this week. Lock it in.
Yeah, lock that in. Throw away the key. Listen, we're a Temple-based program. We know that. But Memphis, 41. Temple, 34. The only good that can come out of this prediction right here is Temple will cover the spread. So I guess that's all I got.
There you go. All right. Now, before we say goodbye to Alexis, Stop the Clock is back this week. Alexis, tell us a little bit more about what we can expect.
Absolutely. This week we have senior on the women's soccer team, Javon Dupree. She's a top defender for Temple and has started in all 19 games last season. On this episode, we talk a little bit about her family full of Owls and what it means to be more than just an athlete.
All right. Well, we can't wait to tune in, Alexis. Thanks so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely great stuff, Alexis. See you around soon rather than later.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Temple was well represented in this week's AAC Honors Awards. 2 Owls brought home accolades for leading the team to its first win against USF this past Saturday. Temple update Sean McMenamin tells us who got those awards.
Defensive end Arnold Ebikadi was named AAC Defensive Player of the Week after a stellar performance on Saturday, which included 6 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, a sack, and a fumble recovery for the go-ahead touchdown.
Yeah, honestly, it was just a great call, and he happened to get the ball loose, so I just had to grab it and score.
In 2 games this season, the redshirt junior has already notched 16 total tackles while adding 4.5 tackles for loss.
The defense, every time we out there, we were just trying to execute, and I was just trying to do my job at a high level.
On the offensive side of the ball, wide receiver Randall Jones reeled in 8 catches for 81 yards and a 13-yard touchdown. His big performance put him on this week's AAC honor roll.
He's a stud. How about that? Is that simple enough for you?
Jones' receptions this past week doubled as 7 of the 8 went for first downs, one of which was taken 13 yards through the house to give the Owls a comfortable lead late in the 4th.
You know, just going out there executing, doing my job, and just coming out with the win, just, you know, something to feel good about.
The way he practices, the way he plays, the way he attacks his life in general, on and off the field, he is a stud.
Ebikadi and Jones are happy to receive these conference honors, but are focused on continuing to play at a high level and winning more games. Reporting for the Sports Desk, I'm Sean McMenamin.
Sean, my man, that is awesome to hear. Don't we just love when the awards pour in so early in the season? Hey, I just heard Aunt Russo got added to the Johnny Unitas watch list, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, that's about wraps it up for us here at Temple Timeout at TU_sports desk. You know where to find us.
For Alex Call, the entire Temple Timeout crew, I'm Brooklyn Vaughn. We'll see you guys next time.